Welcome back, everybody, to the Transfer Portal CFB podcast. I'm here with Adam. Adam, how you doing today, man?
Doing good. Good to be here. Ready for some college football. Week's getting started tonight. Let's get after it.
Yes, sir. We got week 5 coming up, man. This season, I feel like some people say, "Oh, it goes too fast, goes too slow." I feel like, at least for right now, it's been feeling for me. It's been going at the proper speed. Just to preview this weekend in a nice, like, easy format, we're gonna do a little bit of a draft. Adam and I, we have 3 picks each. We're gonna draft our teams. We're just gonna go back and forth, no like snake draft because it's just the two of us. So again, 6 total picks, 3 each of us. We did a little bit of a controversy beforehand. We did like Siri heads or tails. Adam went tails.
he
I'm
didn't.
telling
He
you,
didn't show me. He didn't show me, Jack. He didn't show me.
it said heads. My I tried to show him the thing. It wouldn't. My Zoom wouldn't show, but oh well, it is what it is. So I got the first pick of the draft. I mean, it's easy. It's number 2 Georgia going to number 4 Alabama. 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. Um, That's my notes on this thing real quick. This is the first real test for both teams. Like I know Alabama went up to Wisconsin and I know Georgia had Clemson, but like I think like these two teams are a tier above everybody else. This is the first real test for them. Um, Unfortunately for Alabama, Georgia's coming off a bye where before that they had a tough game against Kentucky. And so Kirby Smart had a whole 2 weeks to be like, hey guys, focus. We're playing Alabama next. Um, But on the other side too, Alabama, like they beat Georgia last year in the SEC championship game. My big key here is will Ryan Williams for Alabama offer explosive plays, freshman wide receiver? Will Georgia not spy Milrow as much as they did in the SEC championship game, which is what a lot of Georgia fans were complaining about last year, where they had all their stud defensive linemen not really rushing Milrow instead of just kind of like keeping him in the pocket. And it gave Milrow just enough time to just be comfortable. Um, And it's I don't know, like these teams have matched up a bunch in the past few years, but like rarely like on campus just because of how the scheduling is in the SEC being ginormous. So it's really, really fun to have this game on campus. Adam, what do you got in this game?
I'm interested to see how Kalen DeBoer reacts because this is really his first. This might be his biggest test, which is crazy. Your
Hmm.
first conference game is your biggest one that you'll have. Did, does the pressure get to them? It's a lot of pressure to win at Alabama and replace Nick Saban. So I'm interested to see how he calls the game. Is he conservative? Is he as aggressive that we've seen him in the past? Um, Georgia's a tough team, so maybe he might do they have some trick plays? Not, I want to see the full package. I don't think we've seen the full package from either team, and I'm excited to see the complete Georgia offense with, they got a lot of new weapons and they haven't really shined yet, but I also think Georgia's offense has just been very vanilla. So I'm excited to see both the full unleashed offense of both of these teams. But I want to ask you, who's under more pressure? Kirby Smart to finally, well, he's beaten Alabama before, but he's 1-5 against Alabama, or Kalen DeBoer coming in. This is your first big test. You got to feel like you got to show out. Who do you think the more pressure is on?
Um, Nationally, it's gonna be on Kirby because
I think I
I think they
agree.
have the better team slightly. The more complete team, more proven team overall. Um, and again, like the record against Alabama, he's like 1-5.
Yeah,
I
one
mean,
and
the
five.
one was a major one. Yeah, 1-5.
Got the one that counts.
Exactly, but 1-5, big one. But I think at least for the teams, um, Kale and the board just like the standard is so high, and like Alabama fans are just so crazy. Um, and like the boosters, like one of the things that when Nick Saban came in is that he reined in the wild boosters, and that's why Alabama got good, along with like the other things. But like that's one of the major reasons. Can Kale and the board do the same thing? The board's won at every single level he's been at with every single team he's been at. So if
Yes.
like they lose here, I mean, they still might be panicking, but nationally, like we'll be like, oh yeah, it's DeBoer's first time. It's fine. But not locally, I feel like it'll be a different thing. Moving on to pick number 2, Adam. This is your first pick overall. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with another big matchup. I'm going to the Big 12. Two teams coming off tough losses, both 0-1 in the Big 12 now. Need a bounce back week. Oklahoma State versus Kansas State. This
Hmm.
one is in Manhattan. Kansas State has came off a terrible, disappointing loss to BYU. They just got outplayed in Provo. Oklahoma State lost to Utah. Utah's backup with the backup quarterback. This, I think, this is a must win for both teams, especially because they're both 0-1 in the Big 12. Two teams that you could have said were two of the top three teams in the Big 12. I think behind Utah, it was the consensus was these were the two other best teams. Avery Johnson didn't look good last week. I was expecting him to look Kent State to look a lot better than they have just in general. Alan Bowman, he's like 40, so you know, see
Hmm.
what he see how he holds up. But yeah, I'm going Oklahoma State, Kansas State, 11 a.m. Starting off early. That's the game I'm waking up for. What do you think?
I like that one. These are two teams, sneaky teams for the college football playoff, as like at large bids because a lot of people think like the Big Ten and the SEC are going to get multiple teams. The Big 12, it's not as sure. These are teams where maybe
Mm,
like they got
one,
a chance
maybe
to
two.
exactly. So this is a huge one, especially like just the disappointing losses that both teams are coming off of. Kansas State's. I know it was a blowout to BYU. It was bad, but like it was also just like freak plays all over the place. Like the biggest one was like that punt return where BYU's guy like muffed it and
Yeah.
picked it up and ran all over the place. And like, man, going up to Provo at night, man, it's
It's not
crazy up
it's
there.
not
It's a
easy.
wild, yeah.
Not
But
easy.
I really that's a really good one, and it should just be a good game. Those are two evenly matched teams in my eyes. So I like that pick. I like that pick. Um, three overall. I got it. I'm gonna go with the late night one. Alrighty, kind of a sleepy one, but this one I think has sneaky college football playoff implications. This is Wazoo at Boise State, 10 p.m. All the times I'm gonna be saying are
Um,
all Eastern time, 10 p.m. on FS1. This is I got my notes are this are John Mateer, that's Washington State's quarterback, who, as JP Acosta said, after their game against San Jose State last Friday. Mateer is like a tiny Timu Josh Allen on cocaine, something like that.
oh, what?
That's Mateer, man. He's a crazy man. You look at his stats, like his passing's pretty decent, and then he'll like run like crazy, and he'll just like does not have any care for his physical being, which is awesome to watch. I hope he stays healthy. Um, and on the other side, Boise State, Ashton Jeanty again, just dominating. Just two games and they've been on the bye, but he's still like way up there with stats. And it's not just like he's a stat guy. He's just like he's one of the best running backs in the country, one of the best players. Again, he better be in New York at the end of the year. And this is again, I said a sneaky one because for Washington State and like Oregon State lost, and they're probably out of it. But Washington State, if they want to somehow get into the playoffs, they have to win out. They have to be undefeated. They're not going to get an
Hmm.
at-large bid. Um, if they have like one loss. For Boise State, they are the favorite, even with had a close loss at Oregon, should have been a win against Oregon. Uh they are right now everyone's group of five favorite to get the 12th spot in the playoff. But there are a bunch of other G5 teams who are coming up, so Boise State can't let these slip. It's on the blue turf. Um these teams have played a little bit in the past have been really fun games, and it's a late night one, so and it's Pac-12 after dark. So I mean, of course, I got to put it on my list. I'm gonna put it. It might be a little high at third overall, but
I
I like
like
this.
it. I
Um,
like it. This was one of my sleeper picks for the last round because of what you said, John Mateer. I remember I watched him when they played Texas Tech, and he ran for
mhm.
like 200 yards. I was like, this dude is electric. That comparison, I kind of see it now. You know,
Yeah,
late night vibe, Pac-12, future Pac-12 matchup.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Excited. Got Ashton Genty there. He's in the running for the Heisman. I want to see how much does Boise State try and get him that Heisman.
Hmm.
You want to protect the players. He's gonna have a long career in the NFL, but if he wants to go for that Heisman, I think he's gonna have to like break records. This is
Exactly.
how it
Yep.
is as a group of five. I want to see him go for it. Why not? It might be
Yeah.
too late now. It might be. I think he's pretty far behind, but why not? You know, go for it, Boise State. Get send him to New York. If he goes to New York, then that means y'all probably in the college football playoff too because you're playing well. So
Exactly.
why not?
That would be so much fun to watch.
Hmm.
Um, Number four pick, Adam. What you got for four?
It's you, isn't it? Aren't you going back to back?
No, we're not snaking.
Oh, not
Yeah,
snaking.
yeah, it's just
Oh,
because it's just the two of us. So
oh.
like snake
So
would be
you went
weird.
first, and you're not going. Dang, bro. All right, that makes it easier for me because I'm gonna go. I think this game is gonna be very ugly. It's on Peacock. Maybe you know where
Okay.
I'm going.
I think I know what
I'm
this
going
is.
with Notre Dame
Yep.
versus Louisville. I want to see how much fight this Notre Dame team has because everybody wrote them off after that loss to NIU, rightfully so.
Hmm.
Everybody wrote that team off. If they have any hope at getting back into the college football playoff conversation, this is the game. If they go and they destroy Louisville, who I'm not saying people think Louisville are like a spectacular team, but the people respect Louisville and what they're doing there, right?
Yeah.
If they're able to go, they got them at home and destroy win comfortably. I think that can kind of springboard them back into the college football playoff conversation.
Hmm.
Um, when we looked at Notre Dame's schedule at the start of the year, we kind of circled 3 games, right?
Yeah.
This was one of them: A&M, Louisville, USC. I guess Florida State too, but not anymore.
No, nope, not even close.
Not anymore. So, what are they going to do? And then on the other side, Louisville, they also people are kind of. I feel like people are sleeping on them in the ACC. All this hype about Miami, Miami this, Miami that, Clemson, they turned it on. Everybody wants to talk about Florida State losing, and not Louisville actually has a very good team. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're playing. And I don't know what ACC championship game is. I want to say Miami, but if they're playing Miami for that matter in ACC
Yeah.
championship. So this is a game I'm really excited. I want to see, is this the game that Notre Dame gets back into the college football limelight?
Yeah. Um, my quick things on this one, Tyler Shuck, a really, really talented quarterback wherever he's been, Oregon and Texas Tech. People talk about how he's really talented. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's been healthy
Mm-hmm.
so far. I think it's about 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Look pretty good. Running game's really good. That's what they beat Notre Dame last year, just running the ball. Let the quarterback don't have the quarterback do too much, I should say. Um, Cardinals haven't played a real defense. They played an FCS team, a really bad FBS team, then they played Georgia Tech. Um, so let's see what they do against a really good Notre Dame defense. And then for Notre Dame, what do you got in offense? I know you blew up Purdue, but that's Purdue. Purdue is probably one of the worst teams at the P4
uh,
level.
Cut on some
Uh,
slack. Not
yeah.
really, no.
But yeah, so that's a really fun. I had that a little bit lower on my list, just because I had like some smaller like sleeper games ahead of it, but that was definitely on my list. And again, apologies to anyone who's gonna have to tell their grandparents or even their parents, like, hey, this is how you log into Peacock. Come 3:30 Eastern time. So even though I hope at this point, because Peacock's been around, I hope like you just got it all set up for them. Um, my last pick, I got plenty of good ones here. There are some big time. I went with the big name one. Have Packed with After Dark. I'm gonna go with a sneaky one here. It's a little bit lower on my list, but I'm gonna move it up. Fresno State at UNLV 3:30 on
Nice.
FS1. So the whole thing with UNLV, with their quarterback Matthew Sluka,
Oh my
um,
gosh.
sitting out because of a NIL thing, and the whole thing is, I guess, basically UNLV and Sluka and his representation, his family, they all verbally agreed to something, but no one got it down in writing. Get all your stuff down in writing, people, please. It's not that hard. Like even if it's like a simple like Word document, like, hey, this is the thing that holds up in court a lot of times. It's like, hey, it's a contract. You got signatures on it. It might not look official, but it's there. Um, Verbal agreements. That's a he said, she said, whatever. So you cannot rely on verbal. But to the game itself, a lot of people are still saying, hey, you don't know if he's going to be just fine. They might be even better. Sluka was crazy good at Holy Cross. but that's a
Yep.
lower level. And like Holy Cross, the league that they played, I want to say it's the Patriot League, not the strongest FCS league. Um, and you had like a sneaky good like NFL talented receiver, Jalen Coker. Going up to UNLV, amazing at running the ball. Like, it was like running all over the place, kind of a little mini John Mateer. But when it comes to passing, on only 48 attempts, I was 44% um completion percentage. That's not good. Not good at all. Um, and like Ricky White, he was one of our finalists for the Colt Brandon Award last year for us, and like just one of the best wide receivers all levels. He through 3 games only has 10 receptions, 126 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like touchdown pretty good, but yardage isn't there because Luka can't pass. Former Campbell's quarterback, Haji Malik Williams was the backup, came in. Was a lot of people thought he'd be the starter because he's just a lot better passer. Put up a lot of really good numbers at Campbell. Campbell, I feel like if I remember correctly, they put a scare into some FBS teams last year, and he was leading the charge. He's a lot better passer, and if you look on Twitter, a lot of the UNLV wide receivers are they're feeling it. They're like, "Hey, let's go, we got our guy."
I mean, yeah,
Um,
I don't. They played 4 games and he hasn't thrown. Stuka hasn't thrown over 100 yards, and
mhm.
what the only one was the SC. They
Yeah,
played 3 games. He's thrown over
yeah,
100 yards once against
yeah, it's not good.
the D2 schools.
Yeah. On the other side, Malik Sherrod, running back, should be returning for Fresno State after getting banged up a little bit. He's
Oh,
tiny.
that's nice.
He's tiny, but he's runs with power and he's so much fun. He's one of the better running back and definitely one of the best kick returners in the nation. He's just so much fun, just pint size. Mikey Keene, the quarterback, not as good of a start as last year. He has like 8 touchdowns but 6 interceptions already. But they're still a fun team. Um, this was a really good game last year. Everyone go look up the highlights real quick. After you're done with the pod, of course. It was where UNLV they had a wide open wide receiver drop a pass in the end zone that would have tied it, or they might have gone for two. And that point, Fresno State was in the running to win the Mountain West, and they just collapsed at the end. But yeah, just whenever these teams play on these past few years, it's been really fun. And this matchup, especially with the whole backdrop of the Sluka situation, um, a few more eyes on it, and hopefully people who are just watching for that situation stay because this is a really good game between two teams who, at least at the beginning of the year, Fresno State was a dark horse G5 playoff contender, but UNLV 3-0 start, first time since a guy named Randall Cunningham was their quarterback and punter.
Nice.
But yeah, UNLV still like they could still sneak in. They are undefeated too. So if they play Boise State, I think they play Boise State or whatever, they should be another one of the favorites for that G5 representative for the playoff spot. Um, any quick words on this, Adam, or you want to, or before you move on to your last pick?
Oh no, I like it. I like it. I like it. That UNLV stuff is crazy with Sluka. I
Hmm.
thought when I read that, I was like, what are we doing? Who are you? First of all, like, why are you not getting that in writing? And
Yep.
second of all, if you're UNLV, I mean, that's just a terrible look in general.
Hmm.
Even if for what I don't know what happened behind closed doors, but I feel like you just can't let that get to leave the building. You got to resolve that in house before
Exactly. Yep.
it gets that this messy as it has. But for my last pick, I'm gonna stay in that same window, 2:30. Colorado goes to Orlando
Yep.
at UCF. Um, obviously Colorado's going to have a lot of the attention, rightfully so. They have 2 really good players, but UCF, Gus Malzahn has those boys hooping.
Hmm.
I watched that game against TCU, and I mean that second half, the first half was bad. That second half, KJ Jefferson, it was a well-oiled machine, and UCF. This is the state of Florida is kind of trending down. UCF's trending up, but they're able to maybe win the Big 12 and go to the college football playoff. They may be able to, get a lot more eyes on that program. Gus Malzahn, he's a great coach. We all know about him and his history. They got the tools. I think it's going to be a great game. Obviously, Colorado, that's the show, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yep.
they are everything. It's say what you want about Colorado football. All their games are exciting. You know, for one
Agreed,
way
agreed.
or another. Some they I don't know how they always end up getting to some crazy game. So that's a game I'm going to be watching for sure. I'm gonna have that one on, and I'm gonna have my Peacock on for Notre Dame and Louisville. Same time slot. I'm gonna be busy. I'm gonna be busy 2:30 window.
Yeah, I like that pick. And again, it's just gonna be like you said, it's gonna be a show. No matter what happens, it's gonna be a show. And
Hmm.
somehow, some way, Colorado, like either they have a crazy game or just something crazy happens in their games. Like for example, the Baylor game last week. Nuts. Um, their blowout loss against Nebraska. Shadir Sanders threw one of the worst interceptions you'll ever see, any quarterback ever do. Um, but yeah, it's just fun, entertaining, and like KJ Jefferson when he's hitting his passes, big
When he's
man
on, he's
is
on.
hitting. If he's not, he can just run. Um, RJ Harvey is one of the best running backs. Penny Boone also a really good running back. And yeah, like you said, man, they're it's Colorado going down there. Um, weather should be will be a factor probably, but it'll be something's gonna happen. So you're gonna want to tune in. I like that pick for the last
Oh, is
pick.
weather is a hurricane expected to? I know there's a hurricane going through
I
that
checked. I
region.
think they should be fine, but even though like it's still gonna be like hot and muggy and gross.
Oh, okay.
So if last I checked. So I'm gonna recap the picks real quick. I'm gonna go my picks and Adam's picks. So my first pick was number 2 Georgia at number 4 Alabama, and then I had Wazoo at Boise State. I rounded out with Fresno State at UNLV. Adam had Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Louisville at Notre Dame, and then Colorado at UCF. Adam, no, you said like you had a long list. You want to just list off real quick your other list of teams or games that you didn't get?
Yeah, some of my other ones, Illinois, Penn State.
Same,
We're gonna
same.
see how really good Illinois is with Luke Outmeyer. I think last year that game got ugly pretty fast.
That's a whiteout game
Illinois.
too. It's crazy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's
That's I
whiteout.
didn't know that. I didn't know that was a whiteout game. Uh, if I knew that, I might have might have made the list. But that's the game I'm looking forward to. I also had A&M Arkansas on the list in
Yep, yep.
Arlington in the hometown. They'll be right up the street. That those two teams, those two fan bases. I don't know the teams. Those two fan bases. They don't mix well.
Nope, no, they do not.
It's like a clash of personalities. I don't know if you ever seen them both together, but they're all in the city right now, and it doesn't not well. And then USC Wisconsin,
Hmm.
it's kind of the first see how USC bounces back from that Michigan game. Uh, I want to see. I think they'll win. I want to see if they handle Wisconsin. I want to
Yeah.
see how they. What about you? What'd you have?
Yeah, Illinois, Penn State, like I said, Arkansas, Texas A&M. Ones that we haven't mentioned, uh, USF at Tulane, two of the better group of five quarterbacks, Darian Mensah for Tulane and Byron Brown for USF. These are
Good.
two teams that still sneakily, with losses, they still have losses, but sneakily still have group of five playoff bid hopes, just because like the AAC seems like the best group of five league. And like they have quality losses. So that might be a thing. But like those two quarterbacks are really, really fun. Just watch it for them. I should say like that's noon on ESPNU. Um, Arizona at number 10, Utah, 10:15 p.m. So like spiritually Pac-12 after dark on ESPN. Arizona, they have lost to Kansas State, but remember that was a non-conference game. Um,
Hmm.
just because of scheduling stuff, they weren't able to schedule a true non-conference, so they made that a non-conference game. So Arizona is still this is their first Big 12 game, and it's at Utah, which is unfortunate. Utah Cam Rising, just assume unless you see Cam Rising like actually play, assume he's out. Um,
Honestly, until kickoff.
not even kick, like just better see him like for multiple drives and say, okay, not just handing off the ball. Yeah, Utah, they got Little Wilson, they got Isaac Wilson. He's been up and down. Like his up's been really good. His downs have been down, kind of like his older brother. Um, but yeah, so Utah, they still got their really good defense. And then Arizona, Tetairoa McMillan and Noah Fafita, just they can go nuclear, that combination, whatever they want.
Yeah.
Um, that's so really fun. And then my last one, this is kind of a sicko pick. This was one of my favorite games preseason. Unfortunately, both teams have kind of not lived up to expectations. Florida State traveling to SMU, 8 p.m.
I
Eastern
wouldn't
time.
call it a single pick because I
Or
thought about putting that on my sleepers too.
thank you, thank you. It makes me feel better. Yeah, I
Yeah,
say sicko just because FSU just not where we thought they'd be. We thought
yeah.
everyone thought like this would be like SMU's a sleeper for the AC. Like FSU should be a favorite. This would have been a fun matchup. But even then, for SMU to be able to bring in this major helmet team, um, that everyone knows, you show the Florida State helmet to any like even a casual fan, they know that's Florida State.
Hmm.
Going to SMU, that place is gonna be rocking. Um, it's later in the day too, so it's not gonna be as hot because I know like they've had SMU's had like more noon kickoffs or something like that, and it's just been so roasting for the fans. It's not gonna be as hot because it'll be afternoon going into the evening.
We actually got a
Uh,
cold front in Dallas right now.
okay, okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's a
See if
cool
after,
80 degrees. I wear my
uh,
jacket today.
oh, that's so funny. Um, but yeah, like I just think that this the energy at least like watch it for
Mhm.
the first quarter, the energy that SMU will bring should be really really fun. Um, that should do it for our week 5 preview. I think this might be the format we might do. We'll see. This is just really fun to. It's always fun to do a draft and just a fun way to just bounce around all over the
I
place.
want to see the coin toss next. I'm doing the coin toss next.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I messed it up. I was gonna do a screen sharing thing, but like we had to
Nah,
update
you're
our
good.
Zooms right beforehand, and we
Yeah.
didn't know where any of the things were because the Zoom looks completely different. Um, but yeah, for Adam and I'm Josh. Check us out again, Transfer Portal CFB. Check us out Twitter, check us out on YouTube and all the other stuff. So excited for this week 5. Um,
Sir.
and we got this draft here. Let us know if we missed the game that we should watch. And until next time, peace.